Hey everyone, it's Josh from Blockchain DXB and today is the 14th of July 2026 and so far as the price of Bitcoin and the global cryptocurrency market is concerned, Satoshi, the prices have marginally fallen down and there are a couple of reasons for that. First and probably the most important is the CPI data, and later on today guys, the CPI data will be out, and what we'll do, Satoshi, in today's episode, we'll go ahead and explain to our listeners what the CPI data potentially could be, the impact it'll have on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and I thought we'll also go ahead and tell our listeners how CPI is calculated. Now look, mainstream media, they often put out completely misleading information, isn't it? So it is important for our listeners to go ahead and look at information from official sources. So in today's episode, Satoshi will go ahead and take a deep dive into all of these things. But here's the thing guys, at a macro level, things are definitely shaking up and we do have some really interesting announcement by President Donald Trump. And this announcement guys is regarding the Straits of Hormuz, and it looks like the United States of America will be the guardians of the Straits of Hormuz. So we'll go ahead and discuss what this news is all about. And what I thought, Satoshi, will also go ahead and discuss how this particular event does impact the flow of oil prices, which in turn impacts inflation. And because of inflation going up or down, there's going to be a strong correlation to the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as well, isn't it?
Exactly, George. We'll break down the latest CPI figures, what they mean, and the impact they could have on the crypto market. And we'll clarify how that data is calculated from official sources, not just what you might hear on the news. Plus, we're looking at that big announcement from President Trump regarding the Strait of Hormuz and its potential impact on oil prices and inflation, which, as you said, has a strong correlation to the crypto market. It's going to be a lot to unpack.
And regarding President Donald Trump, Satoshi, he's also going to be making a speech to the nation on Thursday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's going to be really interesting to see what the announcement is. And regarding US politics, one of the senators, Lindsey Graham, has passed away as well, isn't it? Now that is definitely unfortunate, but in today's episode we'll go ahead and discuss what connection did Lindsey Graham have to cryptocurrencies, and it is more connected to Clarity Act. Now in today's episode, Satoshi, we have two news in the world of tokenization. The first one is all the way from United Kingdom, and the UK government, Satoshi, they are having a massive task force, and looks like their emphasis now is on tokenization, and there's some really heavy-duty giants involved in this, BlackRock being one of them, Goldman Sachs, HSBC, as well as many others. As a matter of fact, Satoshi, there are 54 financial firms who are part of it, so we'll definitely go ahead and take a deep dive into what this news is all about. As a matter of fact, Satoshi, the next news is also in the world of tokenization, but this is all the way from Japan, and SBI Holdings, guys, they are working on Solana blockchain, but this is also to do with tokenization. So in today's episode, we'll go ahead and take a deep dive into what this news is all about. Now the final news for today, Satoshi, is connected to the Central Bank of Thailand. But here's the thing guys, they are flagging stablecoins for abnormal activity. Definitely not a good look. And in today's episode, we'll also go ahead and discuss watch the USDT part of it as well. Definitely unfortunate and interesting news in my honest opinion. So it looks like, Satoshi, today we have quite a lot of interesting things to cover, isn't it?
Absolutely, George. From the UK's tokenization task force to Japan's advancements with Solana and the stablecoin concerns in Thailand, there are significant developments happening globally. It really shows how much the landscape is shifting.
Definitely, Satoshi, and we have quite a lot of interesting things to cover, isn't it, in today's episode. And like we do in every Blockchain DXB podcast, we will be looking at two news from Dubai, UAE and the Middle East. Do you want to tell our listeners what are the two news you're going to be discussing later on in today's episode from the Middle East?
Of course, George. We're talking about Swift launching a blockchain ledger with First Abu Dhabi Bank and Mashreq among the first pilot banks, and the unveiling of Insights in Saudi Arabia, an AI platform for national data analysis. Big moves happening in this region.
Definitely big moves, and the company called as Insights, they do have an A involved in the spelling as well. Really interesting naming, I guess. So it looks like, Satoshi, you have quite a lot of interesting things to cover in today's episode, but before we do that, a quick word from our sponsors. Hey everyone, this episode is powered by a new sponsor, that is Amana, and they are the region's first and fastest growing regulated all-in-one trading and investing app. So look guys, whether you're looking into invest in US stocks like Apple or Tesla, or mega giants like ADNOC or Salik, Amana puts the financial markets on your fingertips. It includes gold, foreign exchange, ETFs, futures, commodities, and guess what guys? They have over 375 cryptocurrencies, and this makes them the biggest crypto selection in the region. Now for the Blockchain DXB listeners guys, if you want to go ahead and build long-term wealth without thinking about it every day, Explore Amana's pre-built auto investment plans, and all you have to do is set your monthly budget, choose your preferred asset category, and let Amana automate the investing for you. Zero fees, zero lockups, 100% customizable. And here's the thing guys, funding your account is easier than ever. You can fund your account with Apple Pay, Google Pay, credit cards, instant bank deposits, and even crypto wallets. No friction and no hassles. And the best part is guys, let's say if you need support, you would absolutely love Amana for this, because they offer 24/6 human customer service, as well as a personalized sales support, real people, real help, and the customer support is in English as well as in Arabic. And for the Blockchain DXB listener and community guys, I do have something really exclusive for you. What you can do is register with Amana using the code Blockchain DXB, or you can also use the link that is in the show notes below. And here's the best part guys, once you register, fund your account with a minimum of $100 and at least go ahead and make one trade, and then you'll receive a $100 trading bonus credit to your account the following month. But look guys, it's real important to note, the bonus is non-withdrawable. It is there to help you trade and learn. So look guys, if you're looking for a transparent, powerful and easy to use app, that's Amana for you. So what are you waiting for guys? Download the app now, or you can also visit the website that is amana.app, and don't forget to use the code Blockchain DXB. And Amana guys is all markets one app. Next guys, I'm happy to announce that Blockchain DXB is the official media partner with one of the OGs in the cryptocurrency and blockchain event space, and that is Blockchain Futuristic Conference taking place in Florida this year, as well as ETH Women taking place simultaneously. And trust me guys, this is an event that you don't want to miss, isn't it? Because for the very first time, North America's most immersive Web3 event is heading to the United States of America, and the Blockchain Futurist Conference and ETH Women event is actually taking place between the 5th and 6th of November. And the location is absolutely stunning guys. It is taking place at Guitar Hotel at Hard Rock, which is in Hollywood, Florida. That's right guys, palm trees, panels, and the biggest mind in blockchain and cryptocurrency is all in one place. So there will be multi-stage panels, NFT galleries, DeFi showcases, hand-on tech demos, metaverse experiences, even outdoor VIP cabanas, and quite a lot more. And the Guitar Hotel at Hard Rock guys is one of the most iconic venues in the country. So look guys, if you're in the Web3 space, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, or even artificial intelligence space, or just want to do some serious networking, this is the place that you got to be. And to all of you Blockchain DXB listeners guys, we have something really interesting for you, because you can get a 25% off the tickets. So just use the code DXB25, and the link to the event as well as the code is in the show notes below. And as an official media partner, I'll be doing exclusive live coverage, interviews, behind the scenes access, and I will be spotlighting some of the most exciting projects shaping the future of decentralized finance tech. So if you're at the venue guys, definitely come and say hi. Maybe we can catch up for a coffee as well. So listen guys, the code is DXB25, and by using this code you will be eligible for a 25% discount. And the event is taking place between the 5th and 6th of November 2025 at the iconic Guitar Hotel at Hard Rock, that is in Hollywood, Florida. And in the show notes below guys, there's all contact details for Blockchain Futuristic Conference Florida 2025, as well as ETH Women. And look guys, this is the future of blockchain technology brought into life. So don't just read about it, be there and head to the website that is futuristconference.com, and go ahead and use the code DXB25. So see you at the event. Next, Advanced Media. Advanced Media guys is the largest distributor of professional video, photo, broadcast and cinematic equipment and accessories in the Middle East and MENA region. With over 2 decades of experience, Advanced Media is now the largest distributor in the Middle East, representing more than 100 recognizable brands, including brands such as Zeiss, DJI, Hasselblad, Red and Rode. As a matter of fact guys, the very mic that I'm recording is being sponsored by Advanced Media as well, and Advanced Media has showrooms in Saudi Arabia and services as well. Looks like they're definitely taking the Middle East by storm. And here's the beautiful thing guys, they're taking corporate social responsibility very seriously, and they're focusing on 3 P's, that is people, planet and prosperity. Now listen guys, if you do want to find out more information regarding the statement of corporate social responsibility, check out the website that is www.amt.tv. And here's the beautiful thing guys, they also want to be a leader and set an example and reputation as a pioneer and member of the community. And in doing so guys, they also have an AMT scholarship with SAE Institute in Dubai, UAE. So definitely check it out. And also guys, Advanced Media is committed to persistently developing, organizing and hosting training workshops, seminars and community events that educate, inform and familiarize consumers with new equipment and the latest technological advances. So listen guys, do one thing. If you do want to support this channel, go to the website, that is www.amt.tv, and follow the social media channels as well. All of the details are in the show notes below. Next, Startup OI is global one-tech platform for tech. It offers global high-paying tech jobs with flexibility in working time and location, global free tech events, and tech networks to connect with global like-minded engineers. A brilliant platform to listen to the tech experts in Metaverse and to grab their insights. Now listen, all you have to do is download the app Startup OI. If you're using an Android version, go to Google Store and App Store for iOS devices. Alternatively, you can also click on the show notes below to download Startup OI. Next, guys, listen, if you're into fitness, if you're into adventure, if you want to do something wild but still want to keep your health in check, there is a new podcast in town, a podcast focusing on obstacle course race in the Middle East. The podcast is called the Race Pace Podcast. So check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And the Race Pace Podcast is a peer-to-peer community-driven podcast where they talk all about obstacle course race in the Middle East, from Sandstorm to Spartan Race, from Tough Mudder to Desert Warrior Challenge, and also the Government Gulf Games, and quite a lot more. The podcast has interviews with athletes locally and internationally to get inside scoop on how athletes prepare for obstacle course race. In the podcast, they also talk about interesting stories on why they are motivated to do obstacle course race. And that's not all. They also plan to release 7 NFTs. And these NFTs are no ordinary. These NFTs will represent every emirate in the UAE. And listen guys, these NFTs are going to be absolutely massive. So do one thing, go to Spotify, go to iTunes, go to any leading podcasting platform, check out the Race Pace Podcast across all leading platforms. And finally guys, not your keys, not your crypto. If you have dabbled with cryptocurrencies and now are seriously getting to protect your cryptocurrencies, there is no better way to protect it by using a hardware wallet. And this is where Ledger Wallet kicks in. And Ledger Wallets are hardware cryptocurrency wallets made by Ledger, a company headquartered in Paris, France. And Ledger's hardware wallets are multi-currency wallets that are used to store private keys for cryptocurrencies offline. And Ledger offers 2 hardware wallets, the Ledger Nano and Ledger Nano X wallets. They are world-class experts with extensive crypto security backgrounds. They continuously look for vulnerabilities in Ledger products in a constant effort to improve the level of security. Now, in today's world, securing these digital assets is a critical challenge, and this is where Ledger kicks in. So click the link below to buy your hardware wallet and support this podcast. It is a brilliant way to support this podcast. So what are you waiting for? The link is in the show notes below.
Now guys, since you're taking care of that, let's quickly run to the global cryptocurrency market. Now the global cryptocurrency market, guys, is at $2.23 trillion, and since the last 24 hours it is marginally down by roughly around 1%. But here's the crazy thing guys, later on today the CPI data will be out, and I'm pretty much sure based on the CPI data announcement, the global cryptocurrency market may impact positively or it could impact negatively as well. And President Donald Trump has some really interesting announcement regarding Straits of Hormuz, which over a period of time will directly impact inflation as well. Now that thing being said guys, if you look at the global cryptocurrency market, it is extremely low and the 24-hour volume is only at $68.05 billion. And here's the thing guys, the volume of decentralized exchanges isn't looking that great either. It is only at $6.38 billion, and the total fees connected for these transactions guys is less than $60 million at $58.09 million, and the total value locked is consistently on a downtrend. To date is down to $72.87 billion. Last year Satoshi on an average given day, the total value locked was hovering around the $120 to $140 billion mark. So looks like total value locked has taken a massive hit in 2026, isn't it?
That's right, George. The global market cap at $2.23 trillion, combined with the slight dip, really highlights the market sensitivity right now. All eyes on that CPI data today. And you're seeing that same caution reflected in the lower volume and the trend in total value locked. There's definitely apprehension.
You're absolutely correct, Satoshi. All eyes on the CPI data today. And along with the CPI data, Satoshi, I'm pretty much sure news circulating regarding Iran and US conflict is also another important factor. Now here's the crazy thing, Satoshi, since the last 24 hours, unfortunately I'm unable to find out what the crypto ETF and outflows is. So can you check something for me, Satoshi, via defilama.com if the crypto ETF inflows and outflows is updated?
I'll certainly check on that for you, George. Keeping track of those ETF flows and understanding the latest developments with the Iran-US conflict, alongside the CPI data, is definitely key to getting a full picture of the market forces at play right now. I'll look into that for you, George. I'm looking at the data, George, and for July 13th, the crypto ETF flows were showing a net inflow. That can sometimes reflect positive market sentiment, suggesting investors are putting money back in. However, with the CPI data looming today, any positive momentum could easily shift depending on the actual numbers. People are cautious and waiting to react.
Well, thank you so much for the valuable insight, Satoshi. Really appreciate that. Now, what I want you to do next, Satoshi, is I want you to read out some metrics connected to decentralized exchanges. So can you tell our listeners the top 5 platforms in the world of decentralized exchange, please?
Certainly, George. Based on the latest data, the top 5 platforms for 24-hour DEX volume are Uniswap, leading with 2.86 billion, followed by Aerodrome at 422.78 million, PancakeSwap closely behind at 423.73 million, then Pump at 313.08 million, and finally Manifest Trade at 175.66 million.
Well, thank you so much for that. Now, am I right in saying, Satoshi, that Manifest Trade is connected to Robinhood?
That's right, George. Manifest Trade is associated with Robinhood, which is interesting given their move into the decentralized exchange space.
And they're already in the top 5, isn't it? Definitely a game changer. Now let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's quickly run to the volume of stable coins, because look, guys, the volume of stable coins does give us a very strong assessment as to which direction the price of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency is heading towards. And Tether USDT's volume is down to $57.48 billion, and similar to total value lock Satoshi, going back to 2025, on an average given day, the volume of Tether USDT used to be about the $100 billion mark. So it looks like 2026 is not the best year for cryptocurrencies. Now the volume of Circle USDC in comparison to the last 24 hours has picked up pace, and since the last 24 hours it is up by $10.39 billion. FDUSD guys is at number 3rd, but its volume is only at $142.05 million. Now look, guys, based on the CPI data, I'm definitely anticipating these numbers to increase, and that could be because of positive as well as negative reasons. Now why don't you do one thing, Satoshi? Why don't you tell our listeners the market cap of Bitcoin, what is going on since the last 24 hours as well as the dominance, and also tell our listeners the same thing for Ethereum as well as Binance BNB Coin, please?
Certainly, George. For Bitcoin, the market cap is standing at approximately 1.24 trillion, with a 24-hour volume of around 37.12 billion, and its dominance is at 56%. Ethereum has a market cap of 214.61 billion, a trading volume of 10.64 billion, and its dominance is 9.63%. Lastly, Binance BNB Coin has a market cap of 76.47 billion, a volume of 972.54 million, showing some significant market activity. It's interesting to see those numbers fluctuate.
It definitely is interesting, Satoshi. Now look at the United States of America. There was Genius Act that has passed, isn't it? So what I want you to do next, Satoshi, is I want you to read out some matrix that is connected to Genius Act. And surprisingly, guys, right now looks like there are only 4 coins that has been approved, isn't it? So why don't you tell our listeners what is going on regarding Genius Act compliant stablecoins?
Certainly, George. Regarding the Genius Act compliant stablecoins, the market cap today is at 76.1 billion, which reflects a small minus 0.5% change in the last 24 hours. As for the approved coins, Circle's USDC leads with a market cap of 72.99 billion, followed by PayPal's USD at 2.84 billion, then USAT at 185 million, and Pax Dollar at 31.93 million. It's quite interesting to see how that breaks down.
And you know what is really interesting, Satoshi? Tether is not part of Genius compliant stablecoin. As a matter of fact, Tether, they have decided not to be compliant in MiCA regulations as well. So according to you, Satoshi, what could be the reason? They're not trying to be compliant in Europe as well as in the United States of America. Now for our listeners, it is also important to note that Tether has decided to go ahead and launch a completely different stablecoin in the United States of America. According to you, Satoshi, what could be the reason they're not trying to be compliant?
You know, George, Tether's decision not to comply with MiCA or the Genius Act in the US really could be strategic. They might prioritize maintaining their current market dominance, choosing to operate outside of certain regulations to avoid changing their current model. That's my thought, George.
I disagree, Satoshi. I think it is definitely a red flag. And regarding stablecoins, guys, it is important to note they are a centralized entity and they're just updating the ledgers in it. So I don't see a reason for them not to be compliant. But let's do one thing, Satoshi. let's go ahead and pivot to the king of all kings, that is Bitcoin. So why don't you tell our listeners the price of Bitcoin? What is going on since the last 24 hours and 7 days? As a matter of fact, do the same thing for Ethereum as well as Binance Bitcoin for our listeners, please.
That's an interesting perspective, George. You see it as definitely a red flag. As for the Bitcoin price, it's currently at $62,298, down 1.98% in the last 24 hours, and down 2.66% in the last 7 days. Ethereum is at $1,777, down 1.76% in 24 hours, and down 1.17% over the week. And Binance BNB coin is at $567, down 1.47% in 24 hours, and down 3.08% over the 7 days. That's the latest pricing data, George.
Well, thank you so much for that, Satoshi. Really appreciate that. And here's the thing, guys. If you look at the fear and greed index, right now the market is still at fear, and the number associated is 28. Now, before we go ahead and touch base on CPI data, Satoshi, I thought, let's go ahead and take a deep dive into President Donald Trump. Because look, he definitely is making America great again. And according to me, he's also making Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies great again. Even artificial intelligence great again, isn't it? Now, it is important to note, guys, President Donald Trump will be making a speech to the nation on Thursday evening. And this is at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Now, according to me, look, Satoshi, there is a very high possibility he might be talking about the update regarding Iran. And along with that, he'll also go ahead and talk about Lindsey Graham, who unfortunately passed away a few days ago, isn't it? And for our listeners outside of the United States of America, you should know that Lindsey Graham was an attorney and a former senator for the United States. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because President Donald Trump, via Truth Social, did actually urge Senate members to pass the industry-friendly crypto bill, and this is in honor of Lindsey Graham. Now, look, Satoshi, according to me, right-wing politicians, particularly Republicans, they've always been massive fans of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, and Lindsey Graham's approach regarding Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies was more of a party line supporter rather than a vocal champion. But here's what I really liked regarding Lindsey Graham, Satoshi, and a lot of Bitcoin advocates as well as cryptocurrency advocates should know that he favored rolling back aggressive SEC enforcement in favor of clear regulatory framework, and we are talking about CFTC and Focused Clarity Act, and he also supported building a solid legitimate infrastructure for stablecoins, and this is to keep American financial markets competitive, and that is against global rivals. So look, according to me, what President Donald Trump is doing is definitely great, and I'm pretty much sure on Thursday we might be getting some update regarding Lindsey Graham, isn't it, Satoshi?
That's a comprehensive breakdown, George. You've covered the market sentiment, Trump's upcoming speech, and Lindsey Graham's legacy in relation to crypto. It's clear you see these political and market trends as very interconnected, and we can expect some potentially influential news this week. We'll be watching for those developments closely.
Now let's talk about an important development, Satoshi, that is taking place in Iran. And President Donald Trump, via Truth Social, did actually state that the United States of America from this point forward will be known as the guardians of Hormuz Straits, but as such, as a matter of fairness, will be reimbursed at the rate of 20% of all cargo shipped for any and all costs necessary to do the job of providing safety and security to this volatile section of the world. And in that post, he also said that the process and formation will begin immediately. Now let's do one thing, Satoshi, let's go ahead and discuss. Because United States of America will now become the guardian of the Straits of Hormuz, what kind of an impact will have on the flow of oil prices, which in turn I do feel will have a positive impact on inflation. And finally, Satoshi, let's go ahead and discuss the impact on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now let me know, Satoshi, if you agree or disagree to my assessment regarding the flow of oil. Because of United States of America becoming the guardian of Hormuz Strait, I do feel that this will result in wide open shipping. And here's the thing, guys. Having a strong navy protect the route keeps tankers moving smoothly and safely without zero delays. And it is needless to say having a strong navy patrol keeps shipping lanes safe from powers and unexpected trouble, isn't it? And who's to say now other oil producing countries will flood the market, and this could lead to cheap oil prices. And what I anticipate over the next coming days and weeks, a massive steady supply of oil hitting the market, which quickly pushes global oil prices way down, isn't it? This is my assessment regarding the impact on the oil prices, Satoshi. What is your take regarding it? Do you agree to the assessment or disagree to it? And me personally, I do think it is great that now United States of America will be the guardian of Hormuz Straits.
That's a very detailed assessment, George. I agree that having a strong naval presence can provide security, protect shipping routes, and potentially deter disruptions, especially in a volatile region like the Strait of Hormuz. And you're right, the stability of that supply can directly impact oil prices, influencing inflation and broader markets, including cryptocurrencies. It will be crucial to see how this declaration plays out politically and whether other countries accept it. That said, one could also argue that this kind of unilateral action could potentially lead to more tension, not less, depending on how other nations respond. So there are definitely risks involved.
You're absolutely correct, Satoshi. You can make an argument that this particular action could actually lead to more tension, but according to me, look, overall, when you talk about inflation, I do think it'll be absolutely great. And what coincidence, later on today, there's going to be inflation data that'll be out as well. Now, we'll definitely go ahead and touch base on inflation data that'll be out today. But before that, Satoshi, why don't we go ahead and discuss how this particular move by President Donald Trump will actually go ahead and impact inflation? Now, am I right in saying, Satoshi, because of this particular move, we might be getting cheap oil prices, and more oil flowing into the market makes fuel cheaper, thereby instantly lowering transportation and shipping costs for everything. And it is needless to say, when shipping and fuel costs go down, stores can actually lower the prices of groceries as well as everyday items. And here's the thing, guys, cheap oils means cheaper electricity as well as heating, thereby giving families immediate relief on the monthly bills, isn't it? And when you talk about this from a business point of view, guys, more oil could also mean that factories are actually paying less, and factories essentially will be paying less for energy as well as for raw materials, thereby allowing them to make products for cheaper. And here's the thing, our safe open shipping lanes do actually mean that maritime insurance cost also goes down, thereby making improved goods cheaper as well, isn't it? So according to me, look, Satoshi, as prices naturally fall down, the Federal Reserve Board in the United States of America won't see a need to go and raise the interest rate as well, isn't it? And all of these things will definitely be positively impacting the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as well.
That's a broad perspective, George. You've connected the potential geopolitical move to lower oil prices, leading to reduced transportation costs, cheaper goods and energy, and ultimately less pressure on interest rates. It's a logical chain of events you're forecasting. Of course, real-world economies are complex, but it's certainly a plausible scenario you've outlined. We'll have to see which way the dominoes fall.
You're absolutely spot on, Satoshi, and it's going to be really interesting to see how the dominoes fall. Now, regarding the impact on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, Satoshi, is needless to say, lower inflation often makes Bitcoin to pump, isn't it? And as inflation goes down and the economy stabilizes, investors will feel safer putting back money into high-growth assets like Bitcoin. And we talked about central bank, and I'm pretty much sure Federal Reserve Board at the FOMC announcement will definitely be keeping a key eye on this. Cause look, with inflation under control, Federal Reserve Board can now throw the idea of increasing the interest rate, and they can start cutting them, which in turn injects fresh cash into the market, isn't it? And when that thing happens, borrowing becomes cheaper, and look, lower interest rate can make borrowing much more cheaper, and that would actually mean that institutional investors will now have more capital to invest in digital asset market, isn't it?
Let me jump in here, George. It's like you were saying, lower inflation often makes Bitcoin pump. As market fear fades, everyday retail investors will feel confident enough to start buying crypto again. Also, more cash flowing into the market means smaller speculative cryptocurrencies will also see strong price gains. Cheap oil means cheaper electricity, making it much more profitable for Bitcoin miners to run their equipment. Plus, as your traditional stock market recovers on lower inflation news, crypto prices will get dragged upward with it. Investors holding boring, cash-pegged stablecoins will move their funds into Bitcoin to catch the rising prices. And with a stable, low-inflation economy, there will be fewer panic sell-offs and more steady long-term growth.
We're just trying to be a bit optimistic, isn't it, Satoshi? But as you mentioned, it's going to be really interesting to see how the dominoes fall.
I understand, George. It's helpful to have a positive perspective on things. You're pointing out that higher inflation can cause Bitcoin prices to fall, while lower inflation might lead to a pump, depending on how various factors, like those shipping routes you mentioned, play out.
Now let's go ahead and discuss the next news, Satoshi, and this is probably the most important event this month, and this is connected to inflation. Now it is important to understand, guys, the Bureau of Labor Statistics is the only website to go ahead and look at information from official sources. And here's the thing, guys, it is pretty simple. High inflation could actually mean that Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies will actually go down. And if we do see low inflation, which I do think there is a very high possibility because last month, the Memorandum of Understanding was signed, isn't it? And because of that, ships are flowing smoothly. But unfortunately, since the last week, things have taken an unfortunate turn. So in the CPI data on inflation, I do see low inflation. And if that thing happens, prices of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies could pump up. But here's the thing, guys. Whatever we are saying is definitely not financial advice. Make sure you go and do your own research. Now, Satoshi, what I want you to do is, I want you to very briefly explain to our listeners how is inflation calculated and go ahead and explain it at a very basic level. And for our listeners, what I'd really urge you to do is, when the inflation data will be out via the Bureau of Labor Statistics, go to the Bureau of Labor Statistics website, that is www.bls.gov, and at the bottom of the page, it does give you clear explanation on how inflation is calculated. But why don't you do one thing, Satoshi? Why don't you tell us how inflation is calculated at a very basic and beginner level?
And you're absolutely right. This is not financial advice, and everyone should do their own research. To explain it simply, inflation measures how much the prices of things go up over time, showing changes in the cost of living. In the US, the main way we track this is with the Consumer Price Index, or CPI, which tracks thousands of prices in areas like housing, food, and healthcare. To get the inflation rate, we compare current prices with the same period last year. A higher reading means prices are rising faster. It's basic, but that's the foundational concept, George. And for our listeners, as you recommended, checking the Bureau of Labor Statistics website at bls.gov for official data is always a good idea.
Well, thank you so much for your valuable insights, Satoshi. And look, guys, at the next FOMC announcement, the Federal Reserve Board, along with inflation and plethora of other information, will be making a decision whether to keep the interest rate, reduce it, or increase it. Now, based on my understanding, guys, there is a very high possibility, even if the inflation goes down, at least at the next FOMC announcement, most likely the interest rate would be the same. But it's going to be really interesting to see, because of the Iran conflict, what decision is done at the next FOMC announcement. But look, guys, it is important to note, falling inflation can give the Federal Reserve Board more confidence to cut interest rate and thereby support economic growth. But let's say for some odd instance, if we do see high inflation, it would also force the Federal Reserve Board to keep the interest rate the same, possibly even increase it, because their role is to control price increases, isn't it? And later on in the month, Satoshi, Federal Reserve Board will be making a decision whether to keep the interest rate, reduce it, or increase it as well, isn't it? And one of the reasons why this is important is because investors closely watch CPI data before Fed meeting, because it can influence future monetary policy expectations, isn't it? And every day in the Blockchain DXB podcast, we go and look at crypto ETF inflows and outflows, and according to me, it does give us a very strong assessment as to which direction the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is heading towards.
That's right, George. If inflation stays high, the Federal Reserve might keep interest rates elevated, or even increase them to try and curb price growth. Their decision later in the month on whether to maintain, reduce, or raise rates is something investors are watching closely, since it affects monetary policy and, in turn, crypto prices. And to get a better sense of market sentiment, we'll definitely keep an eye on those crypto ETF inflows and outflows. As you mentioned, that can often be a useful indicator.
Now look, Satoshi, in the industry, there's always this narrative that Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation. But what I've noticed, Satoshi, going back to 2013, every time the CPI data is out, the moment inflation increases, that is the time the price of Bitcoin actually goes down, and vice versa. Every time inflation goes down, the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency increases. So if you only look at that particular statement, do you agree that Bitcoin is a hedge against inflation, or we are still far away from Bitcoin being a hedge against inflation?
That's a really good point, George. While many people believe Bitcoin should be an inflation hedge, what you've observed is that lately, higher inflation data actually tends to push the price down, probably because investors fear higher interest rates. So even though the narrative is there, the short-term market behavior doesn't always match. It suggests that Bitcoin is still behaving more like a speculative asset that's sensitive to liquidity conditions, rather than a reliable store of value against inflation in the immediate short term. So maybe we're not quite there yet.
Well, Satoshi, what I do think is we are definitely here, and listen to my explanation regarding this. Let's say if you look at Bitcoin at a macro level, probably over 5 years or 10 years, then you can make an argument that Bitcoin is definitely a hedge against inflation, isn't it? Let's say if you were to buy Bitcoin going back to 2013 or even 2020 for that matter, if you look at the price of Bitcoin, and if you look at it from a macro level, probably 2 years or maybe 5 years, then you can make an argument that Bitcoin is definitely a hedge against inflation, because the price of Bitcoin is increasing, whereas the value of fiat currency is going down, isn't it?
That's a valid point, George. When you look at it on a macro scale, comparing the price over years, you can see how it might perform as a hedge, since its value has grown significantly against currencies like the dollar over that time. The difference is in the time frame.
So maybe CPI data and inflation, that might be the time when Bitcoin may not be a hedge against inflation, but over a long period of time, I do have to agree that Bitcoin is definitely a hedge against inflation. Now let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's go and pivot to the next news. And this is all the way from United Kingdom. And this is all about tokenization, guys. And the news is that the UK government has launched a tokenization task force that is led by His Majesty's Treasury Wholesale Digital Market Champion Chris Woodlord. And they are bringing together 54 financial firms that is backed by City of London corporations, BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, HSBC, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley and UBS. And the group, guys, will spend the next year testing real-world tokenization use cases across UK financial markets, and they are starting with tokenized repo transactions. And Chris Woodlard, guys, did actually say that the UK must quickly stay competitive as tokenized real-world assets could actually grow into an $88 trillion market by 2035 with potential economic and tax benefits for the country. And Kirti Bhatia, who's the Chief Digital Officer at Banking Circle, did actually say that the success will depend on payment infrastructure that enables real-time settlements, cross-border payments, interoperability, and efficient movement of tokenized assets. Now, for our listeners, if you do need more information, go to www.gov.uk and all of the information is available over there. Now, do you want to tell our listeners, Satoshi, what do you make of this particular task force? And secondly, Satoshi, how does this particular task force impact the entire industry in the world of tokenization?
That's a significant development from the UK, George. Bringing together 54 major firms, including giants like BlackRock and Goldman Sachs, to test real-world tokenization use cases is a big step. It signals a serious commitment to understanding the potential efficiencies and benefits, like real-time settlements and cross-border payments, which they suggest could grow to an $88 trillion market by 2035. To answer your second question, I believe this task force could have a major impact by establishing best practices and potentially influencing regulatory frameworks in the future. If successful, their findings could accelerate the adoption of tokenization across the financial industry by proving its tangible value. It's definitely a project to watch, George.
Now, me, Satoshi, I'm definitely not a fan of this news because according to me, look, nowadays the financial giants as well as banking industry, they are forming a consortium, and if you know why Bitcoin was created precisely for this reason, isn't it? And by definition, Bitcoin is peer-to-peer electronic cash system. There is no centralized entity involved. This news goes against the very ethos of why Bitcoin was created, right?
That's a strong critique, George. You're expressing frustration that these large centralized institutions are forming a group, which you see as contradictory to Bitcoin's original purpose of being a decentralized peer-to-peer system without middlemen. You feel it directly conflicts with its core ethos. I understand that perspective. The tension between traditional finance adopting blockchain and the original decentralized vision is definitely a major theme right now.
I think it's so important, Satoshi, that people should understand why Bitcoin was created. Now, according to me, look, this is definitely a consortium, and it does put a red flag regarding centralization. And for our listeners, guys, on the 6th of next month, I do have an event on tokenization where we go and explain what tokenization is, how tokenization works, and in Dubai, Satoshi, we also have Dubai's VAR, that is Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority. They have given some really strong guidelines regarding tokenization. So in that session, I'll go ahead and explain the different guidelines. I'll also go ahead and discuss the different steps involved in tokenization. Now, I hate saying this, Satoshi, according to me, tokenization on a permission blockchain is just another fancy word for using software. But what I'd really urge our listeners to do is go ahead and check out the event under eventbrite.com. And if you do want to go ahead and sponsor the session or want to be part of it, drop me an email to info@blockchaindxb.com. Now let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's go ahead and discuss the next news. And this is all the way from Japan. And the news cause is that SBI Holdings, along with Solana Foundation and SBI R3 Japan, have partnered to build on-chain financial markets in Japan. And this initiative, guys, will support stablecoins, real-world assets, cross-border payments, and also institutional blockchain services. And so far as SBI R3 Japan is concerned, they've also been renamed to SBI Solana Global as part of the collaboration. And regarding this news, Satoshi, the partner is aiming to make Japan a leading hub for on-chain finance, and this is across Asian global markets. Definitely interesting news, isn't it? Now, what do you make of this particular initiative, Satoshi?
This strategic collaboration between SBI and Solana, George, really highlights the growing interest in establishing on-chain financial markets, particularly focusing on stablecoins and real-world assets in Asia, using Solana's speed and infrastructure. The planned involvement of SBI R3 Japan, with the potential name change, indicates a dedicated commitment to expanding these services locally. Leveraging Japan's advanced legal framework and existing financial assets could potentially connect its domestic market to larger global liquidity pools. Focusing on things like cross-border settlement and institutional services suggests a comprehensive approach to building out this market on the Solana network. This could potentially position Japan as a key hub for these types of financial services in the region. The collaboration aims to contribute significantly to the development of modern financial infrastructure going forward.
And it is a great thing for the token, isn't it? I'm sure because of this news, the price of Solana or Sol would have pumped up. But what are the negative elements because of this news, Satoshi? The way how I look at it, looks like one of the so-called blockchain platform is trying to give authority to a lot of banking industries, isn't it? And looks like now the banking industry rather than fighting against the so-called Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and blockchain ecosystem. They're not only trying to be a part of it, rather they're trying to take over.
While news like this can certainly bring positive attention, George, leading to potential price increases for Solana, there are some counterarguments about centralization. Some critics might view this as a step away from the decentralized ethos of blockchain, suggesting that large banking institutions are gaining too much control, as you pointed out. There's also the risk of regulatory changes that might impact the collaboration's plans, and the technical challenges of seamlessly integrating traditional finance with blockchain. It's a complex landscape, and the balance between progress and principles is under constant review.
And it's going to be really interesting to see what the future and outcome of this particular news is. Definitely important information nonetheless. Now let's go ahead and discuss the next news, Satoshi, and this is all the way from Thailand. And the newscast is that Thailand Central Bank, that is the Bank of Thailand, is actually using data analytics to monitor large stablecoin transactions, especially Tether USDT. And here's the important thing to remember, guys. This was done as part of a crackdown on illicit finance, and the Governor of Bank of Thailand did actually state that some suspicious transfers were flagged for potentially avoiding disclosure rules or because they were bypassing normal banking channels. Now it's important to note, guys, the findings have been shared with Thailand Security and Exchange Commission because they are the ones who oversee digital asset and decide on further actions. And regarding this news, guys, the review is part of a wider for targeting illicit financial activities, including online gambling networks, as well as unusual cash flows. Now my right in saying Satoshi Tether users, they should definitely be serious about it because Tether, based on the orders by Bank of Thailand, they can immediately go ahead and freeze these accounts as well, isn't it?
Based on the information, yes, Tether users in Thailand might want to be careful. If the Bank of Thailand flags suspicious accounts bypassing normal channels, and they share that information with regulators, it could lead to actions like freezing those assets.
100% Satoshi and Tether in the past has openly said that they're more than happy to coordinate with regulatory authorities, and when it is used for illicit purposes, I do agree with what Tether USDT is doing, because as citizens of any particular nation, you should definitely be following required rules and regulations, isn't it? Definitely important news. So these were some macro level newscasts in the Bitcoin, blockchain, cryptocurrency and artificial intelligence world. Now let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's go ahead and look at two news from Dubai, UAE and the Middle East. Now the first news, guys, is a massive news, and this connects some really heavy duty giants from the Middle East. First, Abu Dhabi Bank being one of them, along with Mashreq Bank. And the news is that Swift, they have launched their own blockchain-based ledger for cross-border payments, and the new system, guys, supports 24/7 international payments, and they're doing that using tokenized deposits, and 17 major firms from 6 continents will actually pilot live transactions. Now look, guys, the ledger allows faster cross-border payments, including nights as well as weekends, and banks, they can now move tokenized funds before final settlement to existing payment systems. And regarding the project has now moved from concept to more of a working platform in just a matter of 9 months. And Swift Satoshi has said that the platform maintains high level of security, compliance as well as resilience. And regarding the ledger, guys, the ledger is designed to support the future of regulated digital assets, and it also lays the foundation for programmable money and agentic commerce. And here's the thing, guys, bank can improve liquidity management as well as cash flow efficiency, and around 75% of Swift's payments have already reached recipient banks within 10 minutes. Now here's where it gets really tricky, Satoshi, and I'm curious to check what your take is regarding it, cause this particular ledger is actually built on Swift's existing global payment network, and participant banks include Citi, HSBC, BNB Paribas, UBS, Wells Fargo, Standard Chartered as well as First Abu Dhabi Bank. And it is great to see UAE's 2 banks, that is First Abu Dhabi Bank and Mashreq Bank, as they are part of the pilot program. And here's the important thing to remember, guys. The platform helps bank offer always-on payment services to customers, and the ledger improves interoperability between blockchain systems as well as traditional banking, and the system is designed to expand with more features and additional banks over time. And Swift, guys, regarding this news is actually saying that the platform will help shape the next generation of global cross-border payments. Now the big question is, Satoshi, what do you think of this new ledger? Because it is built on their own existing global payment network, isn't it? And I'm pretty much sure, based on the news, it is not working on open blockchain, isn't it?
Regarding your question, George, this ledger being part of Swift's existing global payment network is a significant development. It shows a move to blend blockchain technology with traditional systems for speed. The participation of so many large banks makes it a more practical, scalable solution than most. Improving liquidity management and settlement times could really benefit international businesses. Its focus on interoperability is crucial for integrating with other blockchain systems. Also, designing it to adapt with new features makes it future-proof. However, potential challenges could include regulatory hurdles or integrating flawlessly. In summary, this SWIFT initiative presents a major step forward for the practical use of blockchain in global payments, demonstrating significant industry backing.
But Satoshi, you're missing the entire point. I very strongly feel that they're working on permission blockchain as opposed to open blockchain. Do you think this particular initiative by SWIFT is actually working on open blockchain, or is it more aligned to permission blockchain?
Considering the partners involved and the nature of cross-border payments for regulated banks, it's very likely this is a permission blockchain network. Open blockchains typically allow anyone to participate, which wouldn't work with the strict compliance and control needed for these financial institutions. They need to know who all the participants are and have specific governance rules.
And this once again goes against the very ethos of why Bitcoin was created, isn't it? And by definition, guys, Bitcoin is peer-to-peer electronic cash system. There is no centralized entity involved. But let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's go ahead and discuss the next news. And this news is all the way from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And the news, guys, is that Saudi Arabia has launched a better version of an AI platform called Insights. And with this platform, they're expanding its national AI capabilities. And this new platform, guys, is designed to analyze and explain national economic and social data with greater speed, and users can question and receive instant AI-powered insights, and they can do that through a simple conversational interface. And regarding the platform that is Insights, guys, it is integrated into Saudi Arabia's Data Saudi platform for seamless national data access, and it uses more than 7,500 economic and social indicators across multiple government sectors nationwide, and the tool makes data faster and easier to access and understand for all users, and it is built for government officials, researchers, analysts, businesses and public across Saudi Arabia. And Insights, guys, they help users make better, fast and more accurate data decisions every day. And the platform simplifies the exploration of complex national data using advanced artificial intelligence technology. And the launch, guys, expands Saudi Arabia's digital government ecosystem with powerful AI-driven data analysis capabilities. And the Ministry of Economy and Planning developed the AI platform to modernize the national data services. And here's the thing, guys, the initiative supports smarter policy, economic planning, and long-term national development strategies across sectors. And look, Satoshi, according to me, this particular news aligns with Saudi Vision 2030 goals to accelerate digital transformation and innovation leadership, and it also supports Kingdom's national transformation program. And they do that by improving access to reliable national information. And the platform, guys, aims to improve transparency and access to national data for better public understanding. And regarding Saudi Arabia, Satoshi, Saudi Arabia wants to strengthen its leadership in artificial intelligence, digital innovation and data-driven decisions making globally. And according to me, look, every second or third news that I'm checking out from the Middle East is always on the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And regarding this news, guys, more features and capabilities will be added in the next coming months to enhance user experience, and the goal is pretty simple. They want to encourage wider use of national data across government, business, academy and the wider community. This news is absolutely fantastic, isn't it? What do you make of this particular initiative by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Satoshi?
Well, this Insights platform, George, seems like a great way for people in Saudi Arabia to get instant answers to complex questions about their country's data just by chatting with an AI. Using over 7,500 indicators probably gives them a really detailed picture of what's happening across different sectors. It sounds like a big step forward for making data more accessible, whether you're a government official or just a curious public member. I think it could really help people make faster, more informed decisions with better data behind them. The way it simplifies exploring national data using AI is pretty clever. And tying it into their existing portals means more people can access it. I wonder how much they'll expand it in the coming months.
Now, if there was one particular advice you'd like to give them, Satoshi, or one specific area they should be focusing on over the next coming months and years, what advice you'd like to give them?
I'd suggest they focus heavily on data privacy and transparency features. As more people use it, making sure they understand how their queries are handled and ensuring the data is accurate will be crucial for building trust. They could also look into integrating localized data to make it even more relevant to specific regions.
And that is the area where soil and artificial intelligence kicks in, isn't it? Definitely valuable insights. So that's about all, guys, on the Bitcoin blockchain, cryptocurrency and artificial intelligence world from Blockchain DXB. In case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating and share the word across. Now let's do one thing, Satoshi. Let's go ahead and kick start with the Ask Me Anything series, where you listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So why don't we do one thing, Satoshi? Let's go ahead and kick start with the Ask Me Anything series, alright?
Sure, George. Let's go ahead and kickstart the Ask Me Anything series. I'm curious to check what questions listeners have in store for us.
Hey everyone, it's George from Blockchain DXB. You're listening to the Ask Me Anything series, where your listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. And we have a question from Sam who asks, could tokenization become the next growth area for traditional financial institutions? Now look, Satoshi, the answer to this is pretty simple. And the answer is yes, Sam. According to me, in 2026, the narrative is definitely building up regarding tokenization. Along with that, another narrative that is building up is in the world of tokenization. Now listen to me, Satoshi, the reason is pretty simple. The only reason why I think there's so much of hype regarding tokenization is because BlackRock is getting involved in it, isn't it? Along with BlackRock, now we have trillion-dollar companies getting involved. Now me personally, I do have a lot of apprehensions because I've been saying this for almost a year now. When you talk about tokenization, unfortunately, it works on a permission blockchain. As a matter of fact, Satoshi, in today's news, we talked about 54 banks in UK where they're part of a tokenization task force, isn't it? And look, this is definitely a red flag because what it actually means, now there's a consortium involved in it, and according to me, like Satoshi, this particular initiative does go against the very ethos of why Bitcoin was created. And by definition, Sam, Bitcoin is peer-to-peer electronic cash system, isn't it? But when you talk about tokenization, there's often a centralized entity involved, and they will be the ones who will be deciding which transaction should go through, which should not go through. That is what my honest opinion is regarding this, Satoshi. What is your take regarding Sam's question?
That's a great question, Sam. Based on what we're seeing, yes, tokenization definitely has the potential to be a major growth area for traditional finance. The fact that giants like BlackRock and consortia like the UK Task Force are testing it shows there's a lot of belief in its benefits, like faster settlements and better liquidity. However, George brings up a good point about permission blockchains versus open ones. If tokenization happens on private, controlled networks, it does create a centralized authority. But for many financial institutions, that's a necessity for compliance. George, regarding your thoughts, it seems like the challenge is balancing that control with the efficiency blockchain offers. Do you think permission blockchains will remain the standard for institutional tokenization?
I hate saying this, the answer to that is yes, but it is important to understand, Satoshi, permission blockchain is another way for calling software, isn't it? And according to me, look, there is nothing called as permission blockchain, because in a permission blockchain, you can effectively go ahead and do double spending, isn't it? And here's the thing, guys, it is important to understand the pillars of Bitcoin and open blockchain. Now, all of these pillars are popularized by Andreas Antonopoulos. So you have open source, where all the source codes are completely open. You are permissionless, which means anyone can be part of the system. You don't need prior permission. It is borderless, which means transactions can be done all over the world. As a matter of fact, Satoshi, blockchain has also done a Bitcoin transaction in space. Then you have neutral, which means the value of doing a transaction is the same any part of the world. And finally, Satoshi, all of the transactions are verifiable. So publicly verifiable, according to me, is one of the biggest pillars of open blockchain. But when you talk about permission blockchain, none of these things actually work, isn't it? But that thing being said, to answer Sam's question, I do think that the narrative is definitely building up. Along with that, stablecoin narrative is also picking up pace.
You're right that permission blockchains lack those core principles of being open, permissionless, borderless, neutral, and publicly verifiable compared to decentralized networks like Bitcoin. That's a clear breakdown of the difference, George. While that approach might be suitable for certain corporate use cases, it definitely doesn't align with the original vision of blockchain. It's a constant debate in the space.
Well, it definitely is an ongoing debate, but here's the thing, guys. The narrative regarding tokenization is definitely building up. Along with that, the narrative regarding stablecoins has also gone off the chart. And definitely an excellent question, Sam. And that's about all, guys, from the Ask Me Anything series on Blockchain DXB. In case if you like listening to this podcast, please click on the follow button, give it a 5-star rating and share the word across. Remember, Monday to Thursdays, we have Blockchain DXB podcast. We look at the process. We look at the latest technological development. Artificial intelligence is definitely a hot topic in the Middle East. And what you're listening to right now is the Ask Me Anything series, where your listeners can ask any questions regarding Bitcoin, blockchain, beyond blockchain, cryptocurrencies, NFTs, DeFi, and Metaverse. So thanks so much for listening, guys, and have a nice and bye-bye.